I get asked all the time in the comments what I actually mean when I say keep your evidence to yourself. And I thought that would be a great topic to discuss on the first ever episode of the Daily Drawl. So let's talk about it. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Southern Drawl Law and the very first episode of the Daily Drawl. If you're not familiar with the channel, I'm your host, James White. I'm a criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and former police officer. And this show, the Daily Drawl, is basically just our little corner of the internet where we can sit back, have a lighthearted chat about real-world legal issues, answer your questions, talk about trending topics, and occasionally poke a little fun at the absurdity of the system that we're all trying to just survive. Nothing high production, no fancy set, no dramatic reenactments, just me, you, and a few minutes a day where we break down something interesting, useful, or just flat out ridiculous in the world of law and policing. And look, if today's topic isn't your thing, the good news is the episodes are short and we can try again tomorrow. So let's dig into this idea of keeping your evidence to yourself. I've literally said this phrase at the end of every single video that I've ever done. And at its core, it's a simple, stop talking to the cops. That's it. That's the whole thing. But of course, there's more to it than that. And that's what we're going to unpack today. If you think about a police investigation, think about it as a puzzle and it's missing, say, 5 or 6 pieces in the center. And some people might say, well, you say keep your evidence to yourself or don't talk to cops. And they might assume that I'm trying to tell people to hide things or be sneaky or outsmart the police. And I'm really not doing that. I'm not telling you to lie. I'm telling you not to say anything. See, a lot of people don't understand that your words are evidence. Your explanations are evidence. Your side of the story that they want to give you an opportunity to tell is evidence. And those are the things you don't actually have to do. And so what the police routinely do is they'll take things you don't have to do and talk you into doing them so that they can use them against you. And the moment you open your mouth during a police encounter, you're actually handing them pieces of that puzzle that's missing the middle part that only you might have. We have Miranda warnings because the Supreme Court realized decades ago that the average person, when questioned by authority, will talk themselves into a hole 9 times out of 10. And people do it every single day. It's not because they're bad people. It's because they actually expect the cops are there to help. And so they might tell them something that they think is going to be helpful, but it actually just causes problems for themselves. Cops aren't there to help. They really aren't. I mean, they might be in some situations, and I'm not saying this as a broad sweeping statement about all cops, but cops are, as we know, driven by ego. And the one thing they're trying to satisfy all the time is their ego. They also have a healthy dose of narcissistic personality traits. And so if you combine those things, you have to understand that they will drag you around any route that it takes in order to create the dynamic where they can be right. I've been on all 3 sides of this table. I've been the cop asking the questions. I've been the prosecutor reviewing the file. And as a defense lawyer, what we often have to do is try to undo the damage. And let me tell you, once the damage is done, once the statement's out there, there's no unsaying something that you blurted out under stress. There's no fixing a bad explanation. There's no clarifying a statement. And then he's going to take it and he's going to jumble it up and he's going to misremember what you actually said. And it's going to become a problem. And it couldn't exist if you hadn't said it. And one of the biggest misconceptions people have about the police is that they're trying to get the truth. No, police ask questions to gather evidence. Their job is to collect that evidence in a way that supports probable cause, period. They want to introduce somebody to the criminal justice system. And look, if you're not even the person that they're looking for, they'll happily still charge you with whatever you admit to in the process of trying to exonerate yourself from the thing they're suspicious of you about in the first place. And if an officer already thinks you've done something, every word out of your mouth is going to be filtered through that assumption. They're human beings and they serve their human emotions. Humans make assumptions, humans jump to conclusions, humans see what they're looking for. And when I say keep your evidence to yourself, what I'm really telling you is you've got these puzzle pieces nobody else has. Don't give them to anyone so they can build a picture with you in the center of it. People constantly feel the need to deny accusations. Cop walks up and says, you know how fast you were going? And the average person launches into this entire paragraph of unnecessary information because they feel obligated to fill the silence. I'm terrible at this in casual conversation. I can't take it. I have to fill the space. Well, a lot of people are like that. And so when the police officer is like, you know how fast you were going? No, officer, I wasn't speeding. I'm just heading up from work. I'm late for dinner. I was just following that car. I'm usually very careful. Just stop. We see this all the time. I only had 2 beers. Congratulations, you just provided the police officer with reasonable suspicion that you're intoxicated, and that's something he didn't have before. You would be amazed at how many DUI cases begin with the defendant volunteering evidence the state could never have obtained without their help. There's going to be a guy that you'll watch this week that gets stopped on a motorcycle, and when the officer says, "Where are you headed?" he says, "I just had a beer with my buddy." You're never going to talk your way backwards from that statement. People talk themselves into arrests every single day, and the smartest people tend to do the worst because they think they're clever enough to manage the interaction, but they are operating on the assumption that the police are going to be working in good faith and just trying to figure out how to prioritize the severity of what they did or didn't do. When the police talk to you, they're either conducting a consensual encounter where you're free to leave and they have no evidence, or they're performing a Terry stop, which means that they have reasonable suspicion of a crime and you're the target, or three, they're making an arrest. Well, one is an on-ramp to three. So if they start with nothing and you give them statements that lead to reasonable suspicion, and then they develop that with more statements that you give them, well, they're up to probable cause and you're in handcuffs. The thing that all three of those types of interactions have in common is that you don't have an obligation to answer questions in any of those scenarios. The most you might have to tell them is what your information is. You don't have to explain anything to them. You don't have to help them build a case against you, and you absolutely don't have to waive your rights just because you're nervous. So when I tell people keep your evidence to yourself, what I'm really doing is reminding them that the law gives them power, and they lose their power the second that they voluntarily relinquish their rights. Silence cannot hurt you, words can, every time. Especially if you're like me and you have a tendency to just say whatever's on your mind with no filter, and sometimes the words are stupid. We live in a world where innocent people get arrested all the time, where body cam footage contradicts police reports, and in that world, the safest thing you can do is protect yourself by staying the hell out of a criminal investigation and using the rights the founders acknowledged that your creator gave you when they drafted the Constitution. So to everybody who's been wondering, keep your evidence to yourself means shut up. Respectfully, peacefully, calmly, but shut up. Ask if you're being detained so you can understand your status. If you're being detained, don't talk. If you're not being detained, don't talk and walk away. And if they arrest you, don't talk, lawyer up. And you survived. That's it for the first episode of the Daily Drawl. I hope you guys got something from it. I hope you'll continue to watch it. I'll put up a QR code here where you can check us out on all the socials. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel and leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.